Today, we're going to do the second part of our webinar series. The first one we covered the X7. Today, we're going to cover the XR10 and Trimble Connect AR, which is the new augmented reality piece that brings your own device to the table. We're going to be led again by Steve Ostrowski from Trimble, product manager of the two products. He's going to walk you through a live demo of the XR10 and I believe a video demo of the AR product. Take it away, Steve.
All right. Share my screen, get this going. So yeah, I'm Steve Ostrowski with Trimble. I cover the scanning mixed reality for the East region, and product manager of the two solutions you see in the middle. The first we covered in the first part of this demo, which is the scanning. That'll allow you to capture a point cloud. And then what we did was through videos, exported it as an RCP directly from the tablet to Revit or AutoCAD or SketchUp or Tekla to then model. Typically, you're going to model only what you're going to build in and leave the point cloud as kind of the existing of what's there. But in this case, I actually ended up modeling just my house to make it pop a little bit better for the AR demo. The X7 laser scanner there on the kind of second to the left uses FieldLink and the same tablet that runs your robot or your layout robots and GPS. It makes it really easy to do all the processing there on the tablet and even compare back to a model. So that's going to be precise comparison. And I have a couple slides just showing you how you can use the scanner to do a scan to model comparison to down to 16th quarter inch, which is going to tell you if something's out very precisely and pretty quickly. What I'm going to be showing you today is the AR or the mixed reality side, which is using any phone or tablet or the XR10, the HoloLens 2 that you see. That's going to be more qualitative analysis, essentially overlaying the model. There will be some drift depending on, I guess, how you're able to implement it, the control you have, and kind of the project specifics, like how you walk around. The model will move around, and depending on the quality, especially for the AR quality of the device that you're using, it may drift a little bit more. So we have ways to bring that down to probably about an inch or a couple inch accuracies, but it's not going to be essentially the same accuracy that you get with our layout solutions or scanning solutions. The other part of this, which you'll start to see more and more of, is as we expand our partnership with Boston Dynamics, is moving into construction robotics there too for automatic scan collection and hopefully eventually layout. But these are all the products that the team at Building Point Northeast can talk to you about. So this is kind of our mission statement that I think is really applicable for mixed reality. It's the merging of the physical and digital worlds to make your work more efficient. This is done through Connect. Connect is our project management software. It has many different platforms. It has an actual app that can be on any Android or iOS device, use it through the web or even a desktop viewer. It's all email login, and you can even try it for free. But there you're going to upload your 2D or 3D data, do your project management stuff. But on the field side, what we really like is once you can view a model there, you can then share it with others, right? And you can share it out to the field so that they can see it either with their iPad or other Android like kind of tablet, or their iPhone or Android phone for AR. And then we also kind of take the next step, because the tablet is kind of, you still need your hands on it. It's a little less accurate. We have the Connect MR, which is the XR10 or HoloLens 2, which is hands-free and will overlay the model even more accurately. So for these three products, we have 3 different yearly subscriptions, all tied to an email address. You can start to use Trimble Connect for data storage, essentially unlimited data storage and projects for $100 a year. To get the AR app on top of that is, and it includes the business subscription, is about $1,000 a year. And then if you get the XR10 to get all 3, is about $2,000 a year. So this is kind of all your pricing, and what I'll be showing today is essentially different versions of that. If you get the XR10, you get the $2,000 a year license. and you get the XR10 for about $5,250. If you get the AR app, you're bringing your own device, and then you're just paying $1,000 and downloading the app from the iStore or from the Play Store. And then if you're using the business subscription, again, downloading the app or just using it online as well too. So how do we connect the digital and physical worlds? Drop in any type of model. Again, I showed you how we can model in Revit, AutoCAD, SketchUp, and Tekla in the last video. You then drop those models into Connect. Once they're in Connect, we kind of upload them and you can download them. When you're online, you just kind of download the data to your AR app or your XR10 and then overlay them on site. When they're overlaid on site, you're going to be able to capture what we call to-dos, essentially like clashes, where it's going to tie to specific parts of the model. And then anyone who opens that model again is going to see the issues that may be arising on site. And we'll go through that, but it's send the office out to the field with the AR and XR10 apps, overlay it, and then find those clashes and issues and tie it and send those back to the office via those to-dos and images so that everyone on within the project can start to see those problems that are developing. That's all ran through Trimble Connect. So why are we doing this? It's mostly what we see and our customers have been telling us is the data disconnect. Millions of dollars. Autodesk is a massive company. We have a lot of software as well that is worth quite a bit too. And a lot of people spend a lot of time and money in doing 3D design. But then when they go to build it, they send it out in 2D PDF drawings. But then they build in 3D. So you kind of get what we see as a data disconnect. And what the AR and MR apps are going to do are kind of bridge that gap between the 3D model and what is actually being built in 3D out on site. Thereby, hopefully, catching any of those big misunderstandings before they become really costly. Like you see here, if you know where your underground piping or fiber lines, if you're working on a data center, you can make sure you're not going to miss them pretty quickly and easily with your AR and MR devices. And if you are close to them, we would tell you to probably take out some of those more traditional surveying methods, your total station or scanner, to make sure that if it's less than an inch, you probably want to check that a little bit more better. We understand information by seeing it in context. So while you can look at a model on your iPad probably today using any type of project management, Connect will allow you to overlay it and seeing it in the context that's being built, like you see with this image from the AR app. So what is Connect AR? Connect AR is a one-to-one scale augmented reality of your view. So as you will initially place the model using a QR code or manually, and then as you walk through the environment, the model will update, essentially projecting it as it should be out on site. It's great for pre-construction coordination, construction checking, and post-construction QA/QC. It's just going to be a little bit more clear than what you would typically do with a PDF drawing. Now, that being said, one of the, I think, really cool things that I won't be showing today, but we can share a video, is you can actually load in a PDF drawing and have that projected on the ground as well too. So if you don't have a 3D model, you can still overlay a 2D model and then walk through it and it'll project as well too. So again, just to underline, Connect AR will work with any iOS or Android mobile device. So that's tablet or phone, pretty much within the last 3 years. Navisworks, Revit, we have some, they're kind of, I wouldn't say beta, but they are specific upload processes where you need to actually use Connect Desktop to upload a Navisworks file. And for Revit, either save it as an IFC or use our plugin to upload it to Connect. But the rest of the file formats, it's essentially any 3D file format we can take in, and then you can view multiple models at once within each device or individually. You also have layer control as well too. So this is underlining what type of devices will work with the AR. It is Android up through operating system version 9. It's pretty much anything released in the last 3 or so years. It's over 400 devices. For iOS or Apple, it's anything iOS 13 and later. So 6S and later, iPad 2017 and later will work. For this one, I'm going to be showing you a video actually from one of our customers down in New Zealand, where they're going to walk in and with the QR code already placed, align it. That's how easy it is to essentially scan it and for it to recognize. And then as you walk through the environment, you're going to see the model overlaid on site. Well, you have some basic kind of visualization controls where you can show things, view distances, turn transparency up and down. You also have layer control as well too, which is really nice. So to get a good image and to take that good to do, it is generally good to play with those kind of settings so that you can really communicate what you're seeing out on site. This is, again, it being used outdoor, and you're going to see some of the attribute information that can be gleaned from the model. Obviously, anything that was sent in with that IFC, DWG, Revit, or Navisworks, you can pull that information. You also have full layer control, so you can turn things on and off. So you can get really get into it and essentially limit to what you're seeing so that you focus on really the only thing you care about at that time. So that is another way to, I guess, make the products work a lot better, which is learning how to use layer controls and transparency so that you're focusing in on only the areas that you're really checking for clashing at that instance. So let's go to the next video. This is showing actually a rebar assembly in a prefab shop overlaid. So you can see those little targets there at the bottom, overlaid with that rebar cage there. So you can start to see how that'll help you check the QA/QC. You do get a little bit of projection issue as you move away, specifically from the camera. And if you don't align it right, you see here a little bit of offset, which maybe the QR code is placed half an inch to the right than it should be. But you can generally check to make sure that what was built was essentially what was designed. If you want to get down to that 16th or about a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch accuracy, you'd want to scan and compare to the model. Again, that's a pretty quick process as well, but this is great for quick checks where you're gonna see that everything was built according to plan. And then you can always pull off some tape measurements as well too. So keep moving on. We're gonna go to the next video. This I like to show because it shows you this is actually Connect Web. And there's a little marker tab here where you can use that extension after viewing it in 3D to add a new marker. Once you add that new marker in the field, or in the model, you can go to the field, you can download it, essentially download that QR code and then tape it up, or even use your Total Station or X7 to lay it out. This is really the control of the future. Again, hopefully we bring it into using it for our layout setup and scanning setup. But when you're using just your MR, you can pretty much manually do it and pull some measurements. When I attempt my XR10 demo, you can see I actually have a couple QR codes behind me where I just tape them up. I can either move them or actually adjust where they are in the model so that they're kind of within the right spot and overlaid. But after printing that off, taping it up, you can see you're almost immediately into walking around the model in AR and checking to make sure everything's going to be built. So really like kind of that quick demo. This next video is actually one we tried yesterday. Unlike the previous demo where I was running into some issues, we ran through this one. We had some issues with Zoom here not wanting to cooperate with my phone being shared. So I just recorded this one yesterday. Here is actually my phone where I'm going to open up Trimble Connect. So they're all multiple apps. They're all email login. But here I'm just showing you the Trimble Connect app. So this is kind of your overview, 3D to-do viewing. You can do a couple other things as well too. Sectioning, dive into the model in kind of like you would on the web space, take some measurements. But then the next thing I'll do from here is actually open up after I create this to-do, or open up the app in AR. And so the app that we created after we scanned in our last session and modeled is the one that will essentially bring back out to site. The kind of use case or case study I was going for was scan, model it, and then I'm going to design my new kitchen, essentially a renovation or retrofit project. Here you can see I switched to the AR app and I'm going to then just go scan my QR code over here so that the model locks into place. I can manually kind of tell the model where I'm at, but generally it's a little bit easier and a little bit faster to just have it kind of scanned in here with the QR code. Kind of jump through that. So here, again, is the model overlaid. You can see my floor is actually missing, and I have some piping running below that I modeled from my radiator there, and as well as my bathroom next door. So scan the basement, still have all the piping and where it's running. You can see we have our test that we were running before there, my email coming through. Within the AR app, you can do model measurements. So these are actually points that I'm measuring, or measurements from the model. They're not too real life because the AR app, we haven't quite tied into kind of the photogrammetry or meshing created to do that. So it's just going to be kind of like you would in Trimble Connect regularly. The other thing I like here is you can, if I'm going to pause this video, you can bring in a PDF, do some other area measurements and create a to-do. But this overview is also very nice. So this is like a top-down, where am I standing in the mall type map, which I think is also very powerful when you're moving through a project. Layer control, so you can see essentially what's below your feet if there's piping running there, as well as turning off the walls. So I can see my bathroom next door to do that as well. So pretty quick and easy. One thing I will say is, because this is qualitative, depending on your device, I scanned a QR code in my office. I have a pretty small home, less than 2,000 square feet. So I'd be pretty comfortable walking throughout the entire house and having the model overlaid fairly correctly, like you see me going here. When you get to bigger projects, the quality of your device, essentially the older the device, generally doesn't map as well. You may want to place more QR codes every couple 100 feet or so that you can realign it very quickly. So that's that live video for that one. We're then going to move to the XR10. So AR, bring any 2017 or later Apple device or any Android 9 or later device, and then have our apps downloaded. After you drop in those models, you can get going. For the XR10, this is actually our HoloLens 2. We actually worked with Microsoft to create this tech. They have the HoloLens 2. We made it ANSI certified. Again, bring in any type of model. I say that any Navisworks or Revit, you just have to go through just a little bit of workflow to drop it in. And then it's going to overlay with the XR10 a lot more accurately, because the XR10 has a lot more kind of measurements sensors within it to make sure that it's aligning accurately. We're going to try a live demo where it may be a little choppy, but I will ensure you that anything that you see from my point of view, we'll show you a couple of videos, is actually really, really stable, and go through that. So TCH, or Trimble Connect for HoloLens, which is what we call the app within the Microsoft App Store. So the XR10 or HoloLens 2 has it's a computer on my head that I'm wearing that I kind of interact with either voice or finger interaction. Allows us to overlay those models like we did in AR, but with that MR device. Allows customers to do model sequencing, pre-construction walkthrough, design review, etc. Essentially, whatever you can do to overlay the model and catch any issues before you either are installing or afterwards, you can do with the mixed reality. Now, what do you get? If you want to use the HoloLens, you should probably get the XR10, because that is the ANSI certified kind of hard hat that we partner with to create it. Here in the middle is actually all Microsoft. That is the HoloLens portion. We do the ring around it and the helmet, which was what you purchased from us. It comes with a Mobilis bone conducting headset and just an MSA V-Guard hard hat, as well as a carrying case. What's nice about the Mobilis bone conducting headset is if you are using Microsoft Teams, you can actually call directly in from the HoloLens into a meeting. I generally suggest having a MiFi hotspot like you see here, so that everything kind of connects well when you're out on site. But if you don't have data, you obviously can't call it live. You can use all of these devices locally if you don't have data. So if you don't have Wi-Fi or cellular connection, you can download the models locally and overview them, and then either record your screen or record to the XR10, what you're seeing as well too. But it does make it a little bit more powerful when you do a site walk to someone who's not there, when you're doing it live and showing them, which is what I'm hopefully going to do here in a second. So never had any issues going on site with the XR10, mostly because usually I'm going on site with the guys who are running the project, but it is ANSI certified. We have the documentation and intrinsically saved. It has a 180-degree flip up visor, so you can move it out of the way. And then you're generally working in that MR space, I'd say 20 minutes at a time, checking issues and then flipping it back down when you want to check something else. So it's an easy thing to jump in and out of very quickly. Same thing with the AR app. Both of these solutions are really targeted to be easy to kind of drop in, check something quickly, and then move on with the rest of your day. You're not there to, I guess, check everything and kind of punch list it. You can walk that way, but essentially when you think you might have an issue, use either your AR app or the XR10 to quickly check it and put it into context. This is actually a case study from Boeing Engineering that I'm going to play because I really like it. Nick or Corey, if you guys can you let me know if the audio is coming through for you once it starts playing? Or just tell me if it isn't. Hopefully you are getting a little bit of this audio, but if not, I still think
I don't hear anything, Steve.
Okay, then it's just coming through me on the YouTube video I was playing there. So essentially, they're putting it into context. This is I think a great video that these guys put together, showing the XR10 being used on site. Go to the next video. This is actually data I collected with Suffolk at a project out in Haymarket Square, overlaying the MEP stuff for the second floor. And as we walk through the project, it's pretty easy to align the model even without a QR code. You can do a wall-to-wall alignment. And then you can see here, if we pause for a second, the fire sprinkler line essentially being in the wrong location, being off about 4 inches running down here. So fairly quickly, but as you walk through, you can see the fire sprinkler line here is good in red, and with the transparency, you can see it behind it. As they move through to the other side, you can start to see where it essentially shifts off. The next thing I'm going to do is, before I play this video, this is what I'm going to hope to do live, which is set up my XR10 and have you guys watch me do this live. So let me unplug my headphones. And you should hear me from my computer speakers now. What I'm doing now is I'm going to connect to my HoloLens from my computer, essentially live stream it, and then open up my app as well here. So this, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a projection of what I'm seeing right now. You can see I have a couple apps actually already open that I'm going to close, kind of instances. When I'm using the HoloLens, I'm interacting with it like I would have kind of a laptop, but it's actually reading my hands as being my mouse or my keypad in that case. Within the HoloLens, if I hit kind of my home screen, I can see my basic apps. This is kind of looks like a Windows mobile phone because that's really where the MR OS came from for the HoloLens, but there are a couple 100,000 apps. Typically, the only ones I use are our Trimble Connect, which we'll jump into here, or Remote Assist to do live meetings. Doing this way of projecting to my computer works when I have a home network here. But I typically like to have the right side. I want to turn that off because it's getting a little loud for me. I typically only share this way when I'm not using that Teams meeting, which we're not doing today. So I'm going to go ahead and open this app. It's going to essentially log on, and please, if you guys can let me know, close this drawer if you're not able to see anything. It's going to give me a warning. It's actually will adjust to my eyes. I'm wearing different glasses, so I cancel out of that. And give me a little bit of warning telling me not to walk into anything. I do find that the HoloLens is essentially, I guess the danger of using the HoloLens is, I'd say even a little bit less than using your phone, because I can see through this.
I'm generally a little bit more careful too when I'm using the device, whereas with my phone, I trip over many things on a construction site. I can bring open or download many models to just the device, but I'm just going to bring open this last one, which is what we created from the scanner here, and launch it. Once it's bringing it in, it's going to actually have me place it for a kind of a bird's eye view. And you're going to see here, this is actually the meshing of the device. So your AR devices, especially the newer iPhones, the newer Android devices, have LiDAR, IR sensors that are going to measure the area around it. But the XR10 is just going to have a little bit better, and 2 of those sensors, along with 2 sets of stereoscopic cameras, so that it can mesh the environment pretty accurately. In this bird's eye view, it's saying, hey, it's kind of like a video game. When we're in this bird's eye view, it's trying to show me all the polygon components. And you can see I'm actually missing some of my cabinetry within the kitchen. When I go to a one-to-one view, we have a couple ways to actually treat it like a video game, so it only brings in the polygons of the, I guess, the map I'm playing in around me. So it brings in much more detail. But I can actually start to section off and make the model even smaller. I can prep this data, and usually it's a good idea to prep it before I go there, but I can prep it here by just kind of using a section box tool as well too. So let me leave that. You can see I'm actually pushing the buttons and using the radio toolbar with my hands. We're going to walk through kind of everything you can do here, but the first step I usually do when I get out on site is align it. If I don't have a QR code marker, I will use a plane-to-plane alignment. Essentially, that's looking for 2 planes that are in real life and 2 planes in the model. It can be 2 things of steel. It doesn't have to be walls, but luckily I do have some walls in my house. The markers, again, are very easy to do, and that's what I'll actually use to align this. Or I can do a point-to-point alignment as well too. But I'm going to click the marker and then walk over here and scan in my QR code. So here that locked me in, and you can see I'm actually looking at my designed office here. What you guys are getting, and I'm going to move through here, is a full resolution. I can actually see through this a little bit more than you can, but I'm going to turn this down so we can get an idea of what's behind the model as well. Hopefully that's coming through fairly well there. But it is not shaky. It is very stable or stationary on my device. And then as I walk through my house, I will actually walk out in the kitchen and show you the new design. We can play with that. I can also turn layers on and off. So I can turn the floor on and off and see where my boiler is for my radiator here and how the piping connects. I can also turn off the walls and see my bathroom over here. So you have the ability to see through walls and see through floors to see where you're tying into as well here. Coming back to the main menu, some of the other things we do is we do a fishbowl, which means it'll actually only bring in what's within 26 feet of me. So right now I'm not actually seeing the top of my house. But if I turn that back off, you'll actually see where it now shows because it's bringing in all that detail. So some ways to improve the model you're seeing are also to bring in, rather than doing high performance, do low performance and high detail. So you can really see everything that's there. Again, the best way to do that is just turn off the layers that you don't really care about as well too. If I'm not on site, I can do a bird's eye view and then kind of even teleport. So I can do a design review back in the office to make sure if, what I was designing, if I were to stand in that, what would it actually feel like when I move through it? If I'm designing a hallway or whatever, and wanted to make sure it was big enough. I can use the measurement app to take model-to-model measurements. So that's pretty simple as far as what you would do in any CAD program or with the Connect app, just online or on Connect Web. But I can also use the XR10 to do a reel-to-reel measurement, which is essentially using the XR10 as a tape measure. So here you can see the mesh. I'm going to pull this over and get that same measurement. And you can see I actually have a bit of a deviation between these two, about 6 inches, mostly because if I come back here one more time, you can see I didn't model in a doorway. So that's actually going to the other side of the doorway. I can also do a reel-to-model measurement here, and then pull it back out to see that difference as well too. So as I move through here, I can do to-dos and even capture that. The to-dos are going, or the tools here, the to-dos here are going to capture essentially that clash or issue, and I will do that here in a second. But the clash I will capture is essentially, hey, I didn't model in the doorway. With sequencing, I can bring in different model components at different times, and what that'll do is actually show me like MEP sequencing. If I put in the HVAC first, can the electrician get to where he needs to get to? Or if I'm doing prefab kind of construction, how do I assemble something in correct order? So you can see as I walk through my house, it is very stationary and very, I guess, anchored very well. You can see here, into my poorly designed bathroom, and then my newly remodeled kitchen as well with all that, with everything kind of hanging out. So fairly quick now, or let's say very accurately aligned and very stationary as you move through. We have a white paper kind of explaining best practices on how to align this. Generally, every 100 feet or so, I'd probably want another QR code if I wanted to keep it at ideal accuracy. Ideal accuracy being around an inch or a couple inches, depending on how good you can use it. But this will be a little more accurate than your AR app because it's able to mesh that environment. So let me go back through here, create a to-do, and then we'll come back to what it looks like. So you see I already have a couple of to-dos from my testing. I'm going to drop one here. This will assign this to-do to this. I'll make sure this is still viewing. It looks like it froze on my screen. So let me come back to live stream again. I'm just refreshing my live screen because it looks like it stopped for you guys. There we go. This is going to capture an image with the model and real life. I can actually capture another image and either turn off the model or only have the model turned on. I can take multiple images. I can then even write a description about what's happening. And I can even say like, hey, missing door frame. And that should come in with my audio text. So that's actually caught me a little late there. So we'll let that one stick for now. But that's going to capture that to do and then assign it to someone back within the app. So I'm going to jump back off the HoloLens and show you what it looks like on Connect.
So hopefully everyone can hear me again. Those to-dos I just captured, we'll actually upload back through to Connect Online, which will be within the web here. And it looks like I'm kind of, let me see if I stop sharing. I will give it a second to catch up. Oh. We'll try the stop share and see if that allows my machine to catch up. Zoom's always giving me a couple of issues. Hopefully you guys can hear me again, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So coming back to the model. Let's move back to this space. Oh, we'll give it a second. So within Connect, I have these to-dos. If we can open up my web page with Zoom. Generally, the sharing app of preference, I'd say, is either Google or Teams. I've always had issues with Zoom, I feel like. But these are those to-dos. I can click on them, see the issues that are arising there, and then move back. I'm going to quit sharing that one and just go back to the, essentially go back to the presentation. Close this as well. All right. So case studies, we have many of these actually online as well, and videos that our own customers will put on to show that they're essentially using advanced tech into market to those customers, because a lot of what I've seen customers be successful implementing both these solutions, mostly the XR10 because that's been out for about a year or so. But the AR app, as we move forward, is marketing to their customers. It's essentially about showing them the model that they're able to create, what they're going to build, and then communicating more effectively what's going through there. So John's Manville, it's a company, they're nationwide, but they're a roofing and glass installation company that will use the XR10 and remote assist so that remote techs can kind of dial back in. Let me just, I guess, zoom out of this. We're going to stop sharing because I think Zoom is giving me too many issues, and I'll speak through the rest. They're using it so that remote techs can call back in to central headquarters or to people with more experience to kind of be hands-free and then still get, I guess, instruction on what to do, either on that, I guess, within that machine control or whatever they're doing at that time. Another use case we have, and actually case study, is with our second building that we built in Colorado. J.E. Dunn was the GC and MTech was the mechanical. This was actually about 2 years ago when we first beta-ing the project in the app. Just had the HVAC model, pop it on one of the guys' head. He's able to walk through the whole job site when it's just steel up. What he was able to find just walking through initially, 10, 15 minutes, actually probably less than that, 5 to 10, we walked away, was essentially they put in a steel girder, kind of like an angled piece of steel that was going to clash in exactly where they were running their HVAC. So they actually needed to move the HVAC over essentially a couple feet. But if you're able to catch that early, hopefully you can update your prefab so that when you come out to site, you know exactly where you essentially need to move over, and you're reducing the amount of time on site and the amount of kind of field cuts and welds that you would have to do. Obviously not for HVAC, but that is one of the advantages. Let's see. The only other slides I had, which we'll try one more time to see if it'll, I guess, if Zoom will participate, would be using the X7 laser scanner for precise comparisons. Again, XR or AR is going to be qualitative overlay. You can get it down pretty precisely, but it's always going to have a little bit of an issue. With the scanner, though, you can tie into control just like you did with your robot to lay out those positions very accurately, and you know the error of setup, and then compare your scans back to them as well. So within this case, this is actually the same demo data set from that hotel at Haymarket Square, showing the scan to model comparison, essentially as built to the model, and seeing how good the MEP systems line up, which is actually very well, besides that fire sprinkler. You can do the same thing again with another example here. If we can click through, we may just have to give up. So another example here showing it with a fire sprinkler in a busy kind of underground mechanical room from an add-on to Harvard. They're putting on a new kind of a connecting building, and they're putting in a new mechanical room where, again, I guess it seems like I'm picking on them again, but again, the fire sprinkler was installed in the wrong location, and that's shown in the scan data here, and this would be the model of it being off about 4 inches. So also in there is a scale bar showing you where the scan to model is kind of differing. But you can do the same thing with elevator cores like you see in the top here, where you can show the lean, or even larger mechanical pipes like we did at BCU here. So that's all I got today. Hopefully if there's any questions, we can start to answer them, but let me stop sharing. Hopefully you're able to capture some of the last part of that. So any questions?
Okay, no questions. So just again, thank you for joining us. Again, if you need any additional questions answered or want to see any live demos, please reach out to us at Building Point, and we'd be happy to come out and see you guys. Thanks for your time, guys.
Yep.
See you. Enjoy the weekend.
Bye-bye.